Hello, crafty friends. My name is Jessica, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm excited to be a part of a YouTube Instagram hop where we are giving gratitude back to those content creators within our community. Sometimes it takes a village or a community to get everybody to their goals, and I'm excited to have been invited to this hop where we can make sure that we're sharing all those beautiful content creators out there and giving everybody just a little extra help where we can. So today I'm playing with Kristina Werner and Simon Says Stamp Inks. Kristina Werner's new line with Concord and Ninth has completely stolen my heart. I raced to Concord's website every ninth of the month just to see what Kristina is releasing. I've had so much fun and so much enjoyment playing with her new line. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of ink blending here, my specialty, and also playing with some of her dies and her stamps. Now, I can't talk about ink blending without talking about my favorite paper. I pretty much exclusively use Simon Says Stamp 130-pound white ultra thick cardstock. It is my absolute favorite for ink blending, and it is a beautiful density that gives your cards that little extra support. The great thing about the Simon Says Stamp inks, if you're not familiar with them, is many things actually, but one of the things I'd like to talk about today is how they dry back. Now, some of these colors with my new lighting setup can look a little bit splotchy, and even before with my previous lighting, the great thing is that they will continue to smooth back and dry flat and blend beautifully. So for just a little bit of time, it's going to look like I maybe didn't do so well at my ink blending, but I promise by the end of the video, pay attention to that background. You're going to see it smooth out completely. So we're starting with just this really fun blue-green trio, and went ahead and laid that ink down pretty thickly. We're going to go ahead and clean up here with Squeaky Clean. Squeaky Clean is by Brutus Monroe. It's my absolute favorite product to clean up my stamp sticky mats, my stamps, my cleaning surface, everything, because you can buy a scent. The seasonal ones are my favorite. And not only are we having fun in our craft room with the products that we love to create with, but it smells good while we're doing it. So I also love to bake, so I tend to lean towards those baking smells. And I believe that one was caramel apple or apple pie, one of the two. I'm not sure. So I went ahead and I also cut out a die cut of this spring bloom out of that same paper that I love to use for ink blending. We're going to do a couple different layers. So to not waste that 130-pound cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and just cut it out once. We're going to do all of our ink blending on top of it to ensure that we get that smooth blend. And then we're going to go ahead and back it with some lighter, slightly lighter weight cardstock to go ahead and give it that chipboard feel and offer support to this die cut. So I'm layering down two colors. I'm really sticking to the back of the packaging. You know, typically I would like to branch out and kind of try something different, but I really had this vision of this melon colored floral here on the back of the packaging on top of a bluish green panel. So we're going to go ahead and why fix it? It's not broke for today. Not really getting outside of the box, I guess, but sometimes you just need to get back on the horse by just doing something simple and easy. And for me, this was definitely a vision that I had after I saw this, and I knew I wanted to move forward with it. Now, speaking of that horse, it has been a while since I've made a video, and I just want to give a shout out to Geraldine for inviting me to this hop today to get me back onto YouTube video recording. I'm still not sure how committed I'm going to be. I'm not going to be able to go back to my weekly postings, and then at one point I was posting 2 videos a week, but I am hoping to slowly get back in here. One of the things I was really struggling with is I made some pretty drastic changes to the way that I was recording and setting up my lighting. I added a lot of ceiling mounts, and it was one of those things where I was unable to get the glare out of my brand new glassboard mat. And I bought it because I wanted it, and I've seen all these content creators use it, and I just couldn't, with the current lighting that I had, make it a well lit video while making sure that I kept the proper coloring. And anyway, it got in the way. So I am here. I've got it almost to where I like it. I did some tweaking after this video and I'm happy with it. So hopefully I will be back here giving you guys more content and a little bit more frequently than I have been in the last kind of 6 to 8 months. But what I'm doing today for this technique, I'm going and I'm stamping over the color that I blended down. So the blue that I blended at the top there, I went ahead and used that same ink pad to ink up this beautiful circle background die so that we get that tone on tone, but it's a little bit darker because I stamped it multiple times. I love this effect. You can do this with any color. You could even like reverse the coloring so that you're doing the green on the blue and then fading it to the green on the or the blue on the green, and just really it's a fun technique. I'm really going back to basics here, but like I said, I just wanted to get back into my craft room, participate in this beautiful hop. I loved the mission behind it and just get back here to sharing content for you. So, what you're going to see is me building up this die cut. I absolutely love creating that chipboard feel to die cut. So I went ahead and cut out a couple layers of that background die cut from, I think it's 100-pound cardstock, and then also with the outline. We're going to go ahead and I did that once, and then we're going to add the silver on top. I didn't want to do too many layers of that outline because then I'm going to be inlaying all of those beautiful blended pieces into it. So I didn't want to have to fight with multiple layers of that outline. And that's so I did one of the white. We're going to go ahead and put the color down, and then we're going to top it with that silver matte cardstock. Now I do have that panel kind of pushed out of the way, but you'll see that we're smoothing out. Even the colors here on the florals are smoothing out, blending back, and drying beautifully. I've recently started using Says Stamp's new glue. They changed the formula. Their Craft Tacky was a lot thicker and in a bigger bottle. I am absolutely loving this tiny little bottle. While for those of us that are probably making multiple cards, it seems silly to have, or it might seem silly to have such a tiny bottle, but there is a lot of product in here. And I like it because it doesn't get clogged. I haven't had to unclog this at all. I put the lid on after every single time. And I've really loved the consistency of it. It's not too thin, it's not too thick. It's been really, really positive in my craft room, so I've enjoyed it. I was using Craft Tacky for specific things and then also Barely Art because I liked a thicker glue when doing die cuts like this where I'm stacking them. And I liked a thinner glue for you just like gluing little embellishments on. So very happy with that. There's that panel. We're going to go ahead and trim it down. I'm not using measured amounts here. I'm kind of just visually trying to see that I cut the same amount off on both sides of the cardstock. And then we're going to go ahead and tape roll it down and start building up this card. But look at that panel. If you kind of zoom back a little bit, it looked really splotchy. And here we are, and it's looking very smoothed back, very beautiful. And just love the way that the Simon Says Stamp inks dry back. Now, I have heard that Concord and Ninth inks are very similar. I just don't have the privilege of using them. I am only exclusive with Simon's ink in my craft room at this time. And of course, distressing, but I feel like those are different. So, because this is a gratitude hop, I wanted to have a card that said sincere thanks because we all got here because of beautiful crafters in this community wanting to see the things that we're doing. So, they're liking our content. And so, I wanted to create a card that I thought was giving back to those content creators. And I could hopefully share it with somebody who inspires me during this time. So we went with a sincere thanks. One of the things I also like to do is I like to beef up my sentiments. Sometimes I'll just use foam tape. Sometimes I will cut out multiple shadow dies and make that chipboard effect. And sometimes I'll do both, which you're going to see here in a little bit. This colored cardstock is a little bit thinner, so I went ahead and cut out the three. We're going to go ahead and quickly layer them up. Now here I'm using the Barely Art glue in this little nozzled tip just because it's a little bit easier to control. It's a little thinner, so I can put it down a little bit faster. And I just used this one because it is thinner and I didn't want to have it squish all out. But like I said, we made a really thick floral. So I'm going to go ahead and add some foam squares to this just so that it kind of matches that vibe to the dimension of that floral. I think we have about 5 layers on this floral. Yeah, with the 3 backgrounds, the inlay, the outline, and then an additional outline on top. So I think that's 5. Gonna go ahead and throw some glue on. And then this is just a really simple card. We're gonna finish it off with some jewels and using my trusty acrylic blocks to push pressure on those die cuts to ensure that they are glued down. And rules of 3, and that's gonna finish the card for today. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate everybody's thumbs ups, likes, comments, and again, make sure that you're giving gratitude to all the content creators out there. And I hope you enjoy the hop. Thanks. Have a great day.